everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of It's Our House podcast with me, Carl Fazafadal, and Mr. Christopher Dees. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm really good, mate. Got internet problems, so please bear with if I'm a little bit dicey. But I'm really excited for this. Really excited for this episode. Really on for a long time. So
yes.
Really good.
He's a legend in our eyes. We grew up watching him. In fact, we have a fantastic guest. He is best known for his time in WWE as a manager, a commentator with some of the best introductions in the business. He's currently taking over the independent scene, and if I can even have just 1% of his charisma, I think I could go just slightly far. It's the incredible Ricardo Rodriguez. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Although, since we're going to do this here, I think for an episode like this, we have to give it a little proper introduction. And yes. I think, hold on. But you were saying something about like you wanting the charisma. And I think this is a perfect opportunity for you to try and give it a little bit of so I think you should try that introduction again, but with a little bit of a
Okay. Right. Today we have, I'll try and do it to you. Ricardo Rodriguez!
There we go. So much better.
Nice. Thank you. I could do that going forward. That's like a stamp. That's a stamp on my CV now.
For every guest.
How are you, mate? How was training? Heard you just come back from training?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. Some of you guys may know already, I'm in Cairo, Egypt. I've been here for the last 6 months, opening up a wrestling school. So it's been an adventure, but I'm happy being here. I'm happy with what we're doing, how we're progressing, and I'm excited for what's gonna happen here in this area, in this region.
Yeah, definitely. You're opening up some big ideas for people in the future, aren't you? Really, so it's going to be great for the for whatever you are, the city. It's going to be great. Right. So what we'll do.
It'll be fun.
What we'll do is, obviously, I know that you get asked these kind of questions, before, but we want to go kind of through your history. So, how did you feel about going from an active wrestler to obviously suddenly becoming Alberto Del Rio's ring announcer and only wrestling really a handful of times in the coming years? Was that Vince's idea, or did you have input into your role?
Well, I mean, yes and no. It was I guess more so Vince's, but because of the storyline of and the character of Ricardo being Alberto's announcer and manager and all that stuff, it didn't really require me to wrestle. Yeah. Which in hindsight, now that I'm older, I'm kind of thankful that I didn't as much.
Go for the bones.
My body, for all the stupid stuff that I did on the independence prior to WWE, and I did a lot of stupid stuff. That I look back and I'm like, why did I do that? Or I'll wake up in the morning and I'm like, why does my neck hurt? And then
I went through a table last night.
And then Facebook memories or Instagram will pop up, and then like, 14 years ago you did this. I'm like, oh yeah, that's probably why.
Remember that.
Go on, Chris.
So obviously, like you're most remembered for being Alberto Del Rio's personal ring announcer. Got a really rich history in. I don't think many people are, or not enough people are aware of that. As a manager, as an announcer, why do you think we've seen less and less managers over the years to be such an important part of the wrestlers who had them? The managers were just as important to their character. Why do you think that sort of died out? They're so common in other countries and in other emotions.
Right. So I know the initial comment is going to be like, what the hell? But there's a story behind it. It's because people don't know their place. And let me explain. Okay. So I was Alberto's sidekick, basically. I was the decorations on the cake. Alberto was the cake. Alberto was the Christmas tree. I was the little the lights, the little decorations that you put on that part. So basically my place was to not take away focus from my guy who I'm with. Whereas, and I've seen it so many times now where the manager, valet, I'll call them valets because there's no managers, they're valets. Will try to be bigger than the person they're with. So they don't know their place. Also, I do think that what helped myself and Alberto was our chemistry together.
Yeah.
And that's basically because we were together all the freaking time. We wrote together. I mean, we were seriously together all the time when we were on the road. We did interviews. We would do media stuff together. Anywhere he went, I went. Anywhere I went, he was with me. Um, so we were a team, not just in the ring, but also like any promotional stuff. Not only that, we were friends in real life.
Yeah.
So that helped our chemistry, and I think that that was able to be shown. You could see that on TV.
Yeah.
Like I knew because I spent some time with him, that I knew like when he was about to say something, so I knew that my feels were gonna have to be a certain way, because of his pauses or I just knew his demeanor, I knew his mannerisms, and I think we could feed off of each other with that. Also, another thing that I think separated myself from everybody else, uh, um, was involved in matches, but I didn't take away from the matches. At least that's what I think.
Yeah.
The focus was still the two in the ring. The focus was always the guys in the ring. I was just that extra man on the side. So what I think now, you have a lot of valets. And valets are just like these little things that come out and they don't do anything. They're not. You can take them out of the equation and nothing would change.
Yeah.
Whereas, I mean, they would specifically put me on tours because we added. It was a dynamic. It was a team. It was a duo. And it became an act with both of us. It became an attraction.
Yeah.
Because I know there were certain times where I wasn't on certain live events, where I wasn't on certain interviews, and they would always ask, "Where's Ricardo?" And even after when I left WWE, it always came back to, "Where's Alberto? How's Alberto?" So they put us together. We're synonymous together.
Yeah.
So I think that is also something I would be missing now, is that the teams that pair up, they're not together a lot, so they don't get to feed off of each other, and they don't understand each other that well. It's a weird little thing.
Yeah, I mean, some of the tag teams even fit that mold, don't they? In terms of, you need to spend time together, you need to understand, as you said, the mannerisms, how people interact with each other. It's what makes that chemistry in the ring work, or even just outside the ring.
Yeah.
No, yeah, for sure. I mean, and it's like, even in real life. And sorry, I'm sure you could probably hear that. They do, they do prayers like 5-6 times a day.
That's all right.
You're gonna hear that. So I'm sure you guys can hear it.
Yeah, we can, but it's okay.
Yeah.
I can't control that.
You can't go out and shout, "Hey!"
Keep it down.
But I lost my oh yeah, but anyway, so it's like, with you and your best friend, in real life, like, you guys are little devils together. You guys know each other. You can't go through like a random stranger, expect them to feed off of you right away. You have to spend time with them.
Yeah.
So some similar.
Yeah, I've definitely learned from that devil over there, trust me. I think I'm the angel on his shoulder more than the other way around, let me tell you that. So what was it like entering, obviously, the 2012 Royal Rumble? You were a non-wrestling personality at the time. That was a time when obviously people didn't really complain about non-wrestlers taking up a spot. But what's it like backstage? Is there any resentment that a full-time wrestler misses out because obviously you took that position?
No, I mean, I wasn't so involved with the internet anyways, and I've never really been an internet guy where I'm not an internet darling. I never have been. So,
You're internet darling, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, so whatever it is that I did online, honestly, most people wouldn't really care because I wasn't an internet person.
Yeah.
But to me, man, like, it was great. It was such an amazing experience, and it's there's certain things in life that, whether they're good or bad, like, there's certain things that, like, nobody can ever take away from me that experience. And for me, this is a great experience. Nobody can ever take that away from me.
No.
And just how the whole concept came about, man, was it all started off as a joke, where I do this all the time, where I'm like, the worst they can say is no. So I'll just say random thing. If they say no, all right, well, they said no. I asked Pat Patterson. I was like, hey, wouldn't it be funny if I came out in the Royal Rumble instead of Alberto, because Alberto was hurt? And then he just laughed it off. And then a couple weeks later, we were in Dallas. We were stuck at the airport because of a thunderstorm, and I was sitting next to Dean Malenko, and I just said it again randomly, and then he laughed about it too, and then we just forgot about it. And then the day of the Royal Rumble, we were in St. Louis, and then I'm by the ring, and Michael Hayes approaches me, and he's like, "Hey, did you see your car?" And I've said the story many times, and I thought he was talking about my rental car, so I thought somebody had damaged it. I thought somebody had damaged it. So I'm bugging out, and then he's like, "No, your intro, your car for your entrance." And what? So then he pulls me aside, and then he shows me the car, and then he's like, "Nobody told you?" I was like, "No, man." He's like, "You're in the Rumble." I was like, "Dude, fuck out of here." And that's kind of how it happened. So, so yeah, it was a big surprise for me, especially we got there, I had no expectations because, like I said, Alberto was hurt.
Yeah.
So he wasn't on TV, and so I had no expectations. But I mean, it happened, and I'm beyond proud, and I'm beyond happy of the reception that the crowd gave me. Even though they cheered at first, and then they were like disappointed when it wasn't Alberto. But then they realized it was me, and then they laughed, but then they cheered. It was a roller coaster, man. It was such a roller coaster. It was so much fun.
It's as you said though, it's getting that reaction. And that's when you know that you've hit what you need to. With the universe, it's having that reaction of a laughter, of a cheer, of a boo.
Yeah, and then I mean, and I was in there with Cody Rhodes and Santino and Justin Gabriel, PJ Black, and then Mick Foley, man, like that was fun. And
wow,
I've developed such a great relationship with Mick Foley that over the years, that any little thing, man, I'm very happy to share these moments with Mick.
Yeah.
And then I punched and kicked Cody several times in that spot. Maybe that's why he hasn't called me for AEW.
Now that's a headline. We're clipping that, my friend.
People will just complain. They'd be like, "Oh, it's another WWE guy." Number one. You can't win. You can't win. Interesting. Like you mentioned in there, like when there was the cheer for Alberto's music, and then they were a bit disappointed when it wasn't Alberto. Like, we always remember Alberto as a heel, but obviously he had that small face run as well. Did you prefer being with him as a heel or as a face?
I'm glad that we got to do both. I'm glad that we were able to experience both sides.
Yeah.
Yes, of course, we had fun being baby faces because they cheered, and obviously most of our time together, we were always the heels. We were the villains, and we never really got cheered unless we went down to Mexico or any like heavily Latino community areas. We would get cheered there, even though we would always like say like the nastiest things to our Latino brothers, but like they would always cheer because we're one of them. But once we became baby faces, like yeah, it was fun. It was a cool little experience. It was, but I had so much more fun as a heel, man.
Yeah,
we had so much more fun. We couldn't really do any wrong in the ring. Like even if we did something stupid and didn't come out right, and this happened many times where we were going for something and then something got messed up, but because me being me, who I was, my character, who I was, and then him playing off of whatever I screwed up, we couldn't do any wrong in the ring, man, and it was great. And also, I mean, it's so much easier to have a manager as a heel than it is to have a baby face.
Yeah.
So I have there was more of me to be used of as a heel than when we were baby faces, because if we're baby faces, you can only beat me up so many times before it's like, dude, this fucking dude is dumbass. But as a heel, man, you can beat me up all you want, and they're gonna cheer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had a lot more fun as a heel for sure.
Brilliant.
I think we hear that a lot, don't we? Anyone we've spoken to is always similar. It's easier to be a heel because you can just be horrible. Let's talk about what you're up to at the minute. You mentioned at the very start when you first joined what you're up to in Pyro Egypt at the moment. So over the last few years, you've been sort of giving back to the industry a bit. You've trained aspiring young wrestlers at the Great Khali School in Punjab, the PWO, as I said, in Egypt. How did those situations come about, first of all? And a big demand for independent wrestling in India and in Egypt? Because obviously independent, we know it's predominantly a US and a UK, really.
Well, let me backtrack a little bit. There was no independence in India. There is no independence here in Egypt. I started independent, well, with Kali's money. With Kali's money, we started the independence in India. Before I was there was none. There was no wrestling there. Yes, and then mind you, this is, I think, like the second largest population in the world of India.
Yeah.
After China, I believe, and I might be switching them, maybe. And like the number one sport in India is cricket, and then after cricket is wrestling, and then after wrestling is soccer, football. Yeah, so like you have, I don't know how many billions of people they have in India, but that whole population is all about they're all into wrestling and WWE, and then later on Impact. So once we started, man, there was such a big demand, and what was amazing about India was that because there was none of that beforehand, the moment we opened up and we started actually running in small shows, student shows, we just started getting flooded with people that would come into from all over India to train.
Wow.
And I've said many times, man, like when I first got there, there was about 20 some students, and by the time I left, we had close to 100.
Wow.
I had close to 100.
Wow.
Yeah. With Carly's money.
It was all Kali's money. But I mean, but like, and now there's multiple and actually pretty big independent companies throughout India. Many of them have TVs, have TV deals. And then granted, COVID, happened and ruled a lot of stuff, because I was supposed to go back last year, but with some of the other places. But COVID happened and nothing happened. There's a lot of stuff that we've all heard the rumors of NXT India, or at least having a PC in India, because there's such a big demand for wrestling there.
Yeah.
And if it happens, awesome. I would love to be a part of it. Hey, Paul, I'm sorry for all the things I've said in the past. And then it's the same thing here in Egypt, man. There's nothing. There was nothing. And India is also, I'm sorry, excuse me. Cairo is the media center of all of the Arabic nations.
Yeah.
So anything that happens in most of the Arabic nations, if it gets put on TV, all of the Arabic nations are going to see it, because this is where it all starts. This is kind of like the Hollywood-ish.
Yeah.
So if we can get something going here, man, it's going to open up such a big market. And there's already such a big, there's a lot of buzz going around in the region of what we're doing. So we're getting a lot of meetings, which we have one tomorrow for possible partnerships to expand this. So this is what I'm doing here. I've been here for 6 months. It's been tough. It has been really tough. The language barrier has been a little tricky.
Yeah.
But I'm happy of how we're progressing. I'm happy with all the guys that have stuck with it. I'll be honest, both here and in India and anywhere that I've gone where it's something new, the moment they come in and they want to do like 450s and then RKOs, I'm like, no, that's not how it works.
Everyone does.
So I crushed their dreams from the beginning. Not intentionally, but it's like, no, hold on. This is the process. So most of them will drop in the first month, especially when I first start somewhere, because they want to come in and do all these things. I'm like, hold on, this is the process.
Learn the basics.
We'll
learn the
there.
basics.
Yeah, exactly. This is the process. But the guys have stuck with it, man. Like they're so amazing, and I'm ready for them to start having small little shows, just to get them in front of a crowd. And unfortunately, because of COVID and this, it's a little harder. People are still afraid, understandably, and I get it. People are still afraid to go into large crowds. Even when I go to the market, like you can be walking, and I've seen it. You can see strangers just walking, but the moment they start seeing a crowd, automatically the mask goes on.
Yeah.
So they're still weary of it. You're still weary of it, and again, so like I'm just waiting for to get the green light so we can start doing shows here. Like I said, small, just so I can get them in front of a crowd and get them accustomed to that. And then eventually what we want to do is the same thing I did in India. we were able to manage, and we pulled off 3 big events in India before I left. We did the first one was I think like 22,000 people that we pulled. The second one was like 52,000 in this city
Wow.
called Dehradun. And the last one only because of rain, because it was raining hard, and only the cricket fields. So cricket fields are big.
Yeah, the massive.
The third one was
Yeah.
only like 13, it was only like 13,000 that we pulled. Only.
No, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say only.
In
Yeah,
this
that's
day and
still
age,
impressive.
only.
So I was able to pull that off in the first 6 months that I was there. But it was such a hard, man. It was hard. It wasn't nothing easy, but we were able to pull it off. And I know if COVID wasn't a thing here, and I know we could have pulled it off here too.
Yeah.
But that's what we're shooting for. That's what I'm aiming for here to build something, because if this opens up, we're gonna open up the floodgates throughout the whole region. And man, there's a lot to be done here. There's so much, because outside of football, soccer, there's nothing really else as far as sports or entertainment of that sort outside of the movies.
Yeah.
So I'm confident that we can pull something off here, that we can do this, and it'll be fun. And I'm excited. I'm excited that I was able to do it in India. We opened up that market. WWE went after it. So did Impact. And now we're going after. I'm doing this, and I know once we pull it off, I know they're gonna come knocking on this door too.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the one thing you can see though is the passion. You're so passionate about it.
Oh hell yeah, man! Because I mean, I guess like you said, we're giving it back to the community. I've always had this little thing in the back of my head since I was a kid. It's either I'm either gonna save the world one day, or I'm gonna blow it up. One of those two. I may not save the entire world or change the world. I may not change the entire world, but damn it, I'm gonna change somebody's. And out of the guys from India, so many of them already got signed. They're with WWE. And then I look at them, I'm like, fuck yeah, man. Like I remember when you first started, you were a piece of shit.
Any names? Any names?
But damn it, man! Like I mean, they busted their ass, and then eventually they did a tryout. They got the contracts, and then they're over there. They're living the dream. They were able to get out of India, which they never expected in their lives. This is what I kind of hope for these guys here, that to make them little local celebrities. Eventually, WWE will come, or Impact, or even AEW. Now that they're a major player, and then they would want to be invested in them, because this is a huge damn market. This is a major market. Like stupid big, and I didn't realize it until like I got here, and then I realized how big the Arabic market is. Massive. So if they see money, we all do. We all see money, but I'm happy to be able to help these guys and make their dreams come true of becoming wrestlers, which is something that they never had the option of.
Definitely. Is there any other market that you'd consider after Egypt?
I don't know, man. Like I don't know. I really don't know. I have a friend in South Korea who's doing some cool stuff right now, and then I would like to stick my hand in that cookie jar eventually. And we've talked in the past, so like if he does do something and he would like to bring me over, like I would jump on that quick.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, hopefully we get to see it. Hopefully we get to see it. Let us pull you back slightly to the managing side of things. I'm really interested in this. What was the deal with you managing Rob Van Dam for literally 2 weeks?
Yeah. It was a month. Before it was cool. So I didn't get it at first. I really didn't get it. We were sitting on the bleachers, and it was myself, the Matador, Alberto, and I think Sin Cara. And my little bull. I love that little bull. And Malenko comes up, and then he goes, "Hey, did they tell you?" I'm like, "No, sir." He's like, "You're with RVD today." And then you guys, it's funny, but unless you know Malenko and his sense of humor, it's gonna be like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
Malenko has this weird sense of humor where you can't tell if he's joking or not. He'll tell you something, and then he'll tell you so seriously, and then he'll walk away, and you're like, "Wait, what?" Like so it'll like sit in the back of your head for like an hour, and he'll come back and tell you, "Oh, no, we're just kidding." But by then, like you've already gone through like all this like mental jump rope games. Head. So anyway, so I couldn't tell if he was joking or not. So I'm trying to do like that whole I'm trying to get him to tell me yes or no what's going on, and then eventually he's like, yeah, you're gonna be with RBD, and he gives me like the run sheet. I was like, oh, okay. I mean, I was off TV at this point. So at that point, I mean, whatever. I was like, yeah, if it's putting me back on TV, whatever, I'll do it. I didn't question it at first, at least not out loud. I questioned it in my head. Um, and then about like 2 weeks pass, and I go to Malenko, and then I'm like, hey, I appreciate the opportunity and thank you, because I'm pretty sure you're the one that vouched for it. But why? Just so I can kind of get an idea of like how to vibe with Rob. And I've known Rob for many years prior.
Yeah.
But I mean, Rob is like very off to himself. He's so relaxed that he'll come say hello and then he'll go away for a while. Whereas me and Alberto and like the Puerto Ricans and the Bull and Sin Cara were loud and always talking and all that stuff. So hold on a sec. Sorry.
It's okay.
So so we're loud. We're loud. And that's just kind of how we are. Anyway, so with Rob, it was just one of those where I asked Malenko, and he eventually told me, well, what they wanted to do was they wanted to build a bridge between Rob and the title, which Alberto had at the moment, and the bridge was this guy, which that's when I was like, oh, okay, I get it. So yeah, so I was basically the bridge between Alberto and RVD for the title.
Would have been good if he told you at first, wouldn't it?
Yeah, basically. So but like I said, at the time I wasn't on TV, so I was just very happy to be back on TV.
Yeah.
And I just took it. I didn't realize it was gonna be a short-term deal. But it was what it was, and I was just happy to be back on TV.
Yeah, definitely.
Fair enough. Yeah, it was very strange for us as fans, especially as it was so.
Yeah, I was just as confused as you guys. We were on the same boat.
Right, let's bring things like really bang up to date. I'd get the feeling that you still keep up with what's going on in wrestling. Obviously, you mentioned AW and things like that. We'd be interested to get your opinions as someone that's been in WWE, seen lots of people released. Obviously, you were released yourself. What do you make of the releases that we've seen recently from WWE? So many within like a month. We've seen 2 mass exoduses, loads of big names. Where do you stand? Do you think that these releases are good for the industry, or do you think WWE and WWE shouldn't hoard talent in the first place? How do you view it?
Well, let me go back. I was never released. I asked for it. Sort of released, but I was never fired. I asked for my release. So that was So like I'll get it every now and then, like on Twitter, like, oh, you got fired. I was never fired. I was just tired of being there. I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy. I kept pitching ideas and nothing was coming of it. I wasn't doing anything. I was just getting mad and angry and bitter.
Yeah.
So that's when I asked for my release, which leads into the next part. For the guys that and there's so many of them. There's so many of them that just feel like they're not doing anything with them and they get upset. And I understand them. I really do understand them. That they keep pitching ideas or they don't. I don't know. And they're just sitting there and catering, just like watching everybody else work. And you're like, fuck, man, like I want to do something. You start to get mad. You start to get very upset. And really looking back now, you may say things that you shouldn't. You may show certain emotions that you're like, I probably shouldn't have done that. And to me, at first, when I finally got the call that they were going to grant me my release, I was happy, but I was mad that they didn't opt to actually do something with me. But I was also happy that I was leaving. So because at the time I was like, well, I'm so young enough. At the time I was 29, 28, 29. So I could still go and do stuff. Um, but I think the damage was done in my head as far as the bitterness and how much I hated wrestling when I left, because I hated wrestling so much. I hated wrestling, and I just went on this downward spiral of like always being angry and being upset. And like I said, looking back, hindsight, I said a lot of things I shouldn't have. I don't regret necessarily saying it. I regret how I said things.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of stuff that I said that I don't take back. I just regret how I said things.
Yeah.
So for these guys, I mean, obviously we saw Andrade. Andrade's gonna be a huge star places. He's still young. He has the amazing fiance, a great family there, and he's athletic and he's good looking, and he's still, he's gonna be a star.
Yeah.
There's so it's a weird one though, because some of these guys don't know anything outside of pro wrestling. They've never been on independence.
Yeah.
And that's where they're going to learn how to sink or swim, especially if you've made comments about the independents in the past.
Yeah. Anyone in particular? You talking about anyone in particular there, Ricardo?
Now you're going where they don't have a masseuse or they don't have wrist tape. You have to buy your own shit. And you're going to be paid a whole lot less.
Yeah.
So they're gonna, for those guys that have never been on independence before, they're gonna learn quick. Because that wave of like the initial first bookings are good. They're not gonna last long. Unless somebody picks you up like on a deal. Yeah. They won't last very long. Maybe a year, 2 years, 3 years, maybe tops. And then after that, another batch of guys are gonna get released. And then
bigger ocean than
ride the wave down. Yeah, come down from that funnel. They're going up, and then eventually another batch are gonna get released. And unless you're on TV, man, it's a weird little thing of like people will forget you, so you have to stay active somehow with their social media. It's a great way to stay active. But I mean, I learned a lot of these lessons the hard way, unfortunately. But I do think that WWE's losses are other people's gains. I don't regret ever being in WWE. I regret how things ended. But if it wasn't for them, if it wasn't for having WWE on my name as a resume, I wouldn't be doing all this stuff right now.
Yeah.
They gave me so many opportunities. I traveled the world. I was this kid from El Barrio in Los Angeles, who was able to get out of that, and I got to travel to places. I'm in freaking Cairo, Egypt, man. And it wouldn't have been because unless I had WWE in my name.
Yeah.
So I know there's gonna be guys during these releases they're gonna be upset, and I get it. Just let them blow off their steam, and I get it. Just let them. Like I said, I've learned this, and you're gonna hear a lot of stuff that I said that are gonna be repeated by other people. That they're gonna be parroting other people. That I probably more than likely am repeating from somebody before me.
Yes. Yeah.
About the company. But like I said, if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be where we are.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I wish the best of luck to all the guys. Like Buddy Murphy, man, is amazing, and I would love to see him do like a big tour of the UK, of Mexico, going to Japan.
Yeah.
So he's gonna be a loyal place. Ruby Riott, man, it's another one. So amazing.
Yeah.
So I wish upon them the best. Like I said, the guys that have never been on independence, it's gonna be a little tough one for them. It's gonna be a wake up call.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
Why do you? I'm just curious. Why do you think it didn't work for Andrade? Because he literally had, like you said, the athleticism, the move set, the look, the girl who has Charlotte Flair. She's got a lot of pull. She's got a lot of power. We know she does. Do you think it's because didn't learn to speak fluent English? That's been mentioned by a lot of people.
It might be. I experienced a lot of stuff there that I've been very vocal about in the past. Of when you're a certain.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. I experienced a lot of that. I would like to think that things have changed, especially after like myself and my former boss, my former TV boss, uh, put it out on blast. Granted, not in the best of ways, um, but I would like to think that some of that stuff has changed. I don't know if it has. Um, but Andrade, man, I don't know. I honestly have no clue. I wasn't there when he came in. I don't know him personally. I've met him before, but I don't know him that well. So I'm not close to him.
Mhm.
But I don't know. I don't know. But I just hope that AEW does something really well with him.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I think, going back to what you said as well, hopefully that they have changed. I think the one place you can see elements of that change is NXT, with Santos Escobar.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yes.
it seems like that company, that side of the company's run a little bit differently to the main rosters.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and then I know Escobar very well. I was with him on his last indie show in Mexico. Um,
Oh,
so I love that guy, man. Like I'm so
He's
happy for
brilliant, isn't
him,
he?
for his
He's so
family,
good.
for what he's done, and yeah, and then uh, I wish that they do something better with it with him that they did with Andrade
Yeah.
once he makes it to the main roster. It's almost like we're dreading when they go to the main roster because oh God, it's like a demotion sometimes. But no, like I mean, I love those guys and they're friends and I wish them the best. I hope that the company does well with them, and does right by them because they are beyond talented. They can offer so much,
Definitely.
especially with the Latino community, which is another
Yeah.
major money maker.
That's what's always been so confusing
And
with me. I mean,
Santos can
you've got Rey Mysterio, who is literally like one of the biggest names the company's
Legend.
ever had.
The legend,
Ever
yeah.
had. And yet, you have these stars come up after them, and then you just see them get wasted and just pushed down the pecking order. It's so frustrating.
It's frustrating.
It is. It is. I mean, we were thankful that, in an unfortunate manner of Alberto, no, excuse me, of Ray when he was injured.
Yeah.
So he was out for a while. So we took that spot
Yeah.
of anything Latin America, and beyond thankful for that opportunity because it elevated us to a certain level with the Latino community, which I'm very thankful for. Um, and unfortunately things happened the way they did and we were out of the company, and I know they need somebody for that. I know they need somebody for that market. They tried with Sin Cara, didn't work out unfortunately, and then I don't know who they're pushing now.
It was Lucha House Party, wasn't it? It was the last big
Okay.
one.
Umberto
I don't know who they're
Carrillo as
pushing.
well.
Alberto
briefly.
Carrillo, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know who they're pushing for the Latino community, but I mean actually do something with them. So I hope that uh, it's Escobar. Really do hope so. He
Yeah.
speaks English. He speaks Spanish.
He's got the
He's
look,
tall.
the walk,
He's
the
good looking.
elegance.
I
He's
mean, yeah,
brilliant.
he's got the look. So I wish the best for him.
Definitely.
It just seems like they only. It seems like they only do it with one guy at a time. Like it's Ray.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
no,
wish
it's
I had
not
a
Ray.
backup.
No,
I wish I had a backup.
Yeah.
it's strange.
Definitely. Right, we're going to bring it back to the last question now, and give you an evening. We know that obviously you left WWE on bad terms. You've mentioned that a few times here, but obviously we've seen the likes of Bret Hart, Ultimate Warrior, people like that rekindle those relationships and those friendships. Is there any chance ever of that kind of happening for you? And would you be interested?
Well, I have to reach Bret Hart's level first. That might take a while. I'm working on it, but that might take a while.
I'm just thinking with the markets that you're currently into, you're a big asset to those areas as well. And from a WWE perspective, you're already there.
Yeah.
I hope so. I would love to. I would love to return to that company. They made me. They did. They made Ricardo. They made and even now, dude. And seriously, anywhere that I go, they don't even know me by my real name. They just say Ricardo.
Yeah.
So I'm really thinking of just changing my name legally. Yeah, they don't like my name. No, my name's not Ricardo. I'm gonna bust a warrior. Just change my name to Ricardo.
Why not?
But anywhere that I go here, they'll just say Ricardo. And I'm like, well, that's not my name, but yeah, sure. I'll respond to that. So I would love to go back to the WWE, whether it's in front of the camera or behind the scenes. I throughout the last 6 years that after I left WWE, and then all these excursions that I've been on, I've gotten to learn different hats. You know, as a producing, rather than producing, being an agent in the match, being a timekeeper. But I mean, behind in Gorilla, training. Man, like, I've learned so many hats that I would love to go back on. If it's not in ring, at least behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And I will love if WWE ever does come to this area or even to India. They do end up doing something over there. I'd love to be a part of that.
Yeah.
Because that's my baby. These are my babies.
Yeah.
So as a trainer,
would be awesome. We really hope that I can.
We'd love to see it.
Yeah, we can get you there. But thank you anyway for spending your evening with us. We really, really, really do appreciate it. Is there anything you'd like to plug, social media wise, shop wise, anything like that?
You can still follow me on Twitter. Until I can change the handle without losing the check mark, it's still gonna be RRWWE. Get your cameos at RRW as well. Instagram is the letter J _ Rodriguez 818. And then also Pro Wrestling Tees. I don't know if they ship to the UK.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
Okay, well, Pro Wrestling Tees. .com / Jesus Rodriguez.
Yep, head on over there.
Where can we school as well, the school in Egypt?
I'm sorry?
Where can we find the school, social media or Facebook
yes.
or anything for that?
The Facebook is Pro Wrestling PWO, Pro Wrestling Organization. It's mostly in Arabic, but I do upload videos every now and then. Just kind of showing the progression and some training drills and stuff. Once we really start moving forward with shows and stuff, I'm going to be blasting that all over social media, social media. Because I want these guys to be recognized. And I want them to be, acknowledged of what they're doing. So that they can see that their hard work is paying off. So once all that stuff starts happening, I'm going to blast it all over social media.
Definitely.
So will we.
Yes, yeah. If there's anyone there who speaks fluent English and would like to come on, we'll definitely have them on as well. Just reach out and we'll have a chat with those guys. Right, and you can follow me on Twitter. It's at Faz's Thoughts. And Deez, do you want me to do it because your internet's poor?
Yeah, you just do it today, mate. You just do it today.
You can follow my partner, Mr. Deez, at PWCDs, and you can follow us on It's Our House Pod everywhere. Check the link tree in the description. But again, it's been an absolute blast having Ricardo Rodriguez on the show. We really appreciate it, buddy. Take it easy, everyone. We'll see you all in the next one.
Adios.